other day, you know that your love is lifting me higher and higher. Oh, can't you see? It's so good to me. I say your love is lifting me higher and higher. Oh, can't you see? It's so good to me. Your love is lifting me higher and higher. Oh, can't you see? It's so good to me. I say your love is lifting me higher and higher. Oh, can't you see? It's so good to me. I say your love is lifting me higher and higher. Oh, can't you see? It's so good to me. I say your love is lifting me higher and higher. Now is the time we should celebrate. When we gonna rest and forget the hate. It's really easy if you concentrate on everyone that you appreciate. The gift of life is magical, not just mathematical. Now is the time we should appreciate. There's no reason to hesitate.
He supports letting states threaten healthcare providers with fines and jail time.
And ban abortion before women.
You know, Jesus Christ was here a second time. He was having Thanksgiving with these guys. We were going and building these giant fucking angelic buildings. They say angels help build the buildings. There's reports of this. We were having Thanksgiving with Jesus Christ. He came back a second time, and he might still be here today. Isn't that crazy? And they're telling us that Thanksgiving is to make peace with the Indians, when really all that does is symbolize the peace treaty that we made, this hush fund of you can have your casinos, Native Americans, you can have your casinos, but as long as you keep your mouth shut about they don't tell us anything. Dude, 9/11 was a fucking inside job. I tried to explain this to Mr. Shepard. I wrote him. I said, you know, and I paid attention. I showed that I paid attention. I wrote probably one of the longest reports anyone wrote in class about 9/11. I said that it was an inside job because I'm not saying that, you know, the bin Ladens, Osama bin Laden, right? I'm not saying that he didn't come in there and fund this whole thing. I'm not saying he didn't have the money, but I'm saying it's impossible for the American government, FBI, CIA, whatever you want to call it, to not have something to do with it. And the explosions came from inside the building, and it crumbled from the foundation, and multiple buildings exploded around it. So what the fuck? That's what they needed to do in order to invoke the United States Patriot Act so that they could put up all these license plate scanners everywhere, these state cameras, just like China, how everyone has a number over their head. That's what we're going to have here. That's what we already kind of got here. to some degree. It's getting worse. I got fucking attacked. And when I got bad grades because of what was going on in my head, nobody gave a fuck. Teachers didn't give a fuck. It's always, do you need help with the work? Do you need help with the work? Dude, I needed mental help. I really needed mental help. And I never got that in my life. I never got emotional support from one person. More people like me are being created every day. And back then, even during, Uvalde times, school shootings weren't a real thing. School shootings are not real. People don't actually fucking do shit like that. Alex Jones called this out. He said the Uvalde school shooting was fake, and he got sued for like a squintillion fucking dollars. Okay? Now, it's a fake trial, but it's like they had to make the fucking point that if you say the truth, that these shootings are fake, we will fucking sue the fuck out of you. Because you just can't make that point, right? But anyhow, it'll be your own people. Ain't nobody got your back. They'll take out cameras and start fucking filming you. That's it. My 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Anderson, gave me a estimation problem, and this was when Barack Obama introduced the Common Core, right? And I wasn't off at all. I got the question right, and I did it the way I was supposed to. I don't understand all this multi-step equation nonsense, and she says that I'm off by like 100,000 or like 1,000,000 or some shit because of this ridiculous Common Core system. But when I was a kid, honestly, I would have rather been snatched by a pedophile than had to go to that school for a fucking day. I would have been better off with a pedophile, okay? I would have been better off with a pedophile. And you know what that could entail. And that would have been better than going to school, getting fucked the way that I got fucked at school. And I almost got snatched by a pedophile. Back in Missouri, the one time that my parents weren't watching me, there was this white van that pulled by 3 fucking times, and the 4th time it pulled by, the dude was so fucking hot. He had a white shirt. He was muscular, but he was kind of skinny at the same time, but he's kind of beefy too. He had like Nathan Drake from like Uncharted, like brown, perfect, like Claude Speed from fucking GTA 3, but his hair's completely brown. He's got like this thin white shirt on. He had a little bit of stubble, but it was mostly freshly shaven. He had this pale face. I mean, the dude, though, was so fucking hot. He made Mr. Perkins look like one of the ghouls from fucking Ghostbusters. I mean, this is a true story, and oh my god, my dad told me, don't talk to strangers. If any of them ask you, here, you get a piece of candy. It's in the back of my van. If they ask you, do you want to see a picture of my lost dog? Run the other way and tell your parents, this dude, I shit you not. I mean, I can't make this shit up. This dude's like, hey, you want a piece of candy? I got some candy in my van, in the back of this van. Well, I lost my dog. I lost my dog. You want to look in the back and see a picture? And I can't even believe I fucking walked up to this guy. But he was doing something with his hands, like he was trying to show that he didn't have a weapon or something. So I'm like, oh, okay, he looks like he doesn't have bad intentions. I expected it to be some fucking 30 or 40-year-old with a beer gut. This dude was like in his 20s, like fucking 23 or 24 years old. It's like, what are you doing going out looking for kids, bro? God dang. I'd rather jump in the fucking van with the fucking pedophile than go to this fucking school for a fucking day. Honestly, I want to see where my life would have gone from there. Everybody fucking hated me, and now I fucking hate myself, you know? That's all there really is to that's my fucking life, you know? They told me that I was a stupid fucking terrorist, and that's eventually what I became, you know? That's what they made me, just this big fucking asshole. This thing that I hate. What I was wrong about in my last video is that you can't go around stabbing people with a number 2 pencil. It just doesn't work. It's this yellow-orange slick paint. It'll slide right out of your hand. And A knife is better because it has a blade, it's got an edge, it can actually tear through the fucking skin, through the fucking meat, and the whole point of using a knife as a weapon is to make a big a mess in as short of an amount of time as possible. If you want to find the bad guys, just look in the movies. Because they don't exist in real life. Also, those schools will do anything they can not to get sued. And I might as well tell you while I'm here. They make a bull ride last 8 seconds because it takes 8 seconds to mount somebody and get on top of them and wrench their fucking guts out with an 8-inch blade, okay? That's all. In our history books, the Leaning Tower of Pisa is used to cover up the giant megalithic gargantuan megastructure that's sitting in the background. Don't know what the story is for the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Don't know who built it. But freaking crazy building in the background. It's definitely used to cover it up. They want our attention diverted to the Leaning Tower of Pisa instead of the this giant mansion that's in the background, this old world manor. The building was a colossal. J.P. Morgan and his pirate bankers were the ones that sunk the Titanic, and they did so because there were people, good people, on the Titanic who opposed this U.S. national banking system. These protesters that are going out flipping all the electric cars, the Tesla cars, the Cybertrucks, they are only there to paint the picture that the conspiracy theorists are freaking crazy, nuts, lunatics that do stupid stuff like that. I just want to talk about the Scythians for a minute. I've seen lots of reports and a lot of depictions of these Scythians coming into the Americas from what I could only imagine would have been over desert and overseas to come meet with the Indians, and they were very friendly. They race mixed, and I even saw a depiction where there was a race mixed red-headed Indian, Scythian Indian, light skin. It wasn't light skin. It was mixed, right? But perfect red hair. I mean, how does that even get preserved? That's freaking crazy. It's a good mix. There's this school secretary we had back at this elementary, middle school. Her name was Linda, and she told all the kids all at once at this big cafeteria when they're all eating that there was this 9-year-old girl who got her dad's lunch pail mixed up with her lunchbox, and in her dad's lunch pail was a butter knife, and she brought her butter knife to school. Her dad's butter knife. What happened? They called the cops and they came and arrested her. Well, turns out the actual story is that this school, when they found out, didn't know what to do. So they forwarded a call to the police department, dispatch. They didn't know what to do. They forwarded a call to the SWAT department. And the SWAT department, they don't know what to do. So they have some guy go in with a fucking samurai sword, level 3 body armor, fucking combat knife, fucking combat boots, a helmet, a fucking AR-15 strapped, 2 Berettas, 2 1911s or 2 Glocks or something, grenades, and this dude was armed to the tooth, ready to chop a little girl's fucking head off with a samurai sword. He had a samurai sword strapped to his back. Yeah, next time I go to school, I'm going to be bringing the staff of Moses. We are growing up in a sadomasochistic slave culture, and they didn't even teach us the definition of sadism and masochism in school. You can go around, you can stab someone with a chopstick, but it's not going to do anything. You can stab someone with a pencil, but it's going to get bloody. Blood is going to mix with that slick yellow paint, like those freaking school buses. It's going to slide right out of your freaking hand. It's not going to do much damage, The school secretary back at my old school told me
that they weren't teaching Common Core, and Common Core doesn't exist. And before it was No Child Left Behind, then it's Common Core, and they're just finding new inventive ways to dumb us down, and they're just stealing old world technology and repurposing it, and then rebranding it into the US under the dollar, and Trump and Elon. We're getting reports now of kids in school getting cancer after they put up these 5G towers. Kids don't just contract cancer for no reason. Kids don't just die for no reason. Okay? It doesn't just happen until they put up these 5G towers, man. And also, these chemtrails, they account for which direction the wind is going to blow. They're accounting for where the chemtrails will fall at. A contrail only lasts freaking 5 minutes until it evaporates in the air and in the wind. A chemtrail will last an hour, it'll last 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe even 4 hours, alright? And they expand over time. There's something I gotta grab. So this bush, they say, is the leading cause of prolonged forest fires during rainy seasons, rainstorms, and rainy weather. They say that this thing can keep the fires going during rain. And what this thing is a bush. It's highly flammable, it's durable, it's highly invasive, and it spawns and grows everywhere in the woods here in Oregon. So there's highly reflective metals in all these chemtrails that they're putting out, and they amplify the sun's light, scorching the surface of the earth. And what happens is the farmers can't grow food, they can't grow crops, all their food keeps getting scorched. Now South Park, Leopold Butterscotch, or whatever his name is, he makes this sun ray, which is a reference to The Simpsons. Mr. Burns makes a sun ray that basically, it's like a giant magnifying glass, and it makes a laser beam, right? So that's a reference to World War II. The Germans came up with a concept weapon called the sun gun. And the sun gun is like a magnifying glass. It makes a laser to the earth, right? But what they're doing now is they're super scorching the surface of the earth with highly reflective shreds of the stuff that they're putting in these chemtrails, these metals like aluminum and chrome. When I was in first grade, I was attacked by a group of at least 16 kids from kindergarten to 6th grade. And they pushed me in a circle, punched me, kicked me, ridiculed me. One of them even spit in my face. And it took the recess monitor 15 minutes to break up the fight while half of the school watched. The entire school was let out after an assembly. They had watched an animation where a kid in a black hoodie didn't like to cooperate with anyone, didn't like to talk to anybody. He, kept things to himself, and the whole 6 kids formed a barrel of monkeys around him, locked arms, until the teacher walked in to take him to the office. And I felt like a caged animal. I was terrified. I thought they were going to kill me. I thought I wasn't going to make it home and see my family ever again. And nobody ever heard about this. Nobody ever heard about this. And at the end of the year, we all had this tug-of-war competition, which, my class versus another class, the other class had mostly bigger kids, and I was at the front of the line, and within a second or two, my entire class had fallen over. They thought they had lost, and I was the last man standing. I was pulling an entire other class with all my teammates in the mud for 30 seconds, and we lost, and all I get, we lost, and all I get is a participation award. And so, my dad, at the same time, he fell out of a tree, broke his back, got schizophrenia, was never the same person ever again. He took his demons out on me and my mom. He threw a knife at the dog. He kicked him in the gut. He was abusive, but he was a good person deep down, but he wasn't the same person ever since the accident. And in 2nd grade, I was an author. I wrote books for the kids. They put them in the school library, the class library, and the teacher loved it. She wished that everybody could be just
another one of me. The kids loved my books, everyone liked me. And in 3rd grade, I couldn't go to my first recess. Every recess, I was getting detention. I was being held in because I didn't do my work on time. In 4th grade, I did a month worth of homeschool, unschooling, and I, without my dad watching me, I was able to get into 5th grade. And not even a week into being here, I was immediately bullied, ridiculed, called terrorist, liar, murderer, killer, and ninja. Ninja? And in 6th grade, there was this new kid that came to school, but he had already been there before and everybody liked him. He was another redhead. He had brown eyes. He was Irish or something. And everyone liked him because he had been to the school before. And 3 weeks prior to, he told everyone that he was going to beat me up. And one day, he tried to tackle me, and it felt like there were lights all over me, man. It felt like lights all over me. And he socked me in the face as hard as he could in front of everyone, when everyone was watching. And the girls said, "Ooh, he slugged him." And the recess monitor, when she was bringing us back, asked who started the fight. And I said I threw the first punch. I took the blame for it. And they locked me in a room for 3 fucking days. While that other kid got to go home and play video games for 5.5 days. I was locked in a room called ISS with no windows, right next to the office, to the right of the entrance. It's the one room with no windows. It sticks out, It was humiliating. They treated me like shit in there, and they said I shouldn't be able to see my friends. I shouldn't be allowed to see my friends. They let me out for 15 minutes during this parade. Everybody thought I was in the hospital. My friends thought that they would be mad at me, or that I would be mad at them for them not having my back, but I wasn't mad at them. My dad, I had to leave high school because I thought I was going to get assassinated. I was always paranoid. I was looking around the room, and in 6th grade, my teacher, Mrs. Hulse, gave me this look in front of everyone. She looked at Johnny like, "Oh, you poor thing," and then she looked at me like, "Oh, you ate that punch and you deserved it." And after the fight, they sent a school counselor to talk to me, to tell me that life is not a video game, and when you kill someone, they don't respond. And not even a month later, he brought a knife to school and was going to kill me in front of everyone. And if someone hadn't ratted him out, I might not be here right now to tell you this. And after the fight, he ripped this out of my hand and laughed in my face. And I had to leave high school. I thought they were gonna fucking kill me. But I didn't realize that they want all the fights to happen in middle school because I don't know why. They like to get them young, you know what I'm saying? They like to fucking traumatize them young, In high school, there was going to be a fight. 2 kids were about to start fighting, and they stopped fighting, turned towards the rest of the class, and start doing some happy dance because they don't want to get kicked off the football team. Where were they? Where was anyone? Any of my friends? He said that he was my friend. And I believed him. I just wanted to be friends with everyone. I loved you all, and I loved every one of you. So why did you hurt me? Why did you guys put me through this? I was the only child left behind. Nobody's cared about me. Nobody wanted my opinion. I felt as though I was left out because I was different. I just want to be with my dog. I just want to run away into the woods and be with the skunks. You can't go assuming things about someone, or you can't assume anything about someone just because of one story that you heard, or because of one person that told you one thing, or 2 or 1 stories that you read.
You can't do it because it just, people believe things are true all the time just because they hear them on the news. Just because someone said it on the news, that makes it true, when really it doesn't. I mean, if Dylan's mom in Columbine had gotten the full unedited docuseries that these kids had made, then she probably wouldn't have given such a horrible TED Talk. But how can I be mad at the internet? My mom and dad met online in a chat room, and my dad was texting the lyrics to Metallica 1. She started texting back. That's how they met. That's how they fell in love. And that's how I came into existence. But we had to leave him behind in Missouri, when everything happened. He was unstable, And one of my aunts on my dad's side had 6 toes and had to get them surgically removed. And I went through life with no self-awareness until all this happened. I mean, nobody ever talked to me after 6th grade. Hardly anyone ever talked to me about anything. And, I never hurt anyone, never disrespected anyone, never cursed. Kept things to myself, and I even ended up taking my anger out on my best friend, which I didn't mean anything by it. Never meant to hurt anyone. I didn't want to hurt anyone. And I remember things that have happened to me since preschool. I mean, in kindergarten, there was this girl that was fucking kicking me in the fucking balls for 15 seconds, And me and him both, my best friend, we remember our first dream. He says it was like being up in the clouds, walking on some invisible platform. I said that it was like being up in the clouds, bouncing around. You could feel them, you could touch them, interact with them, come into contact with them. The only difference is that my clouds were rainbow. The mask, surgical mask that they've been making us wear, this blue surgical mask, it's good for performing surgery. It's good for cutting through an open surgery on your person without blowing into their intestines, without breathing into their insides. Doesn't keep out the inhalation of viruses. So all those OSHA people that are walking into the classrooms, monitoring the kids, making sure they've all got their mask on, are actually proposing more of a health risk or a health hazard just by preventing them from breathing. They've got AI cats on YouTube now to teach you how to fight, and when when God rips open the sky and rips open the fabric of reality and his face peeks through, and your skin and flesh and bones and insides don't just immediately dissolve into nothing, then it's a false image of God. It's probably drones, because they have that technology. 2/3 or 5/6 of the time, I couldn't even focus on my work in school because I was paranoid that someone was gonna, jump me again or attack me or something. The only thing I remember from school is the capital of Thailand. And in Germany in the 1920s, they were doing Zoom calls across country. And all this technology, it's just given to the people little by little. You're only advanced as you are allowed to be. There's no advancing going on.
There's no advancing going on. There is zero evolving. As I've said before, we are as advanced as we're allowed to be.
And, they had Mercury-based hovercrafts that looked like miniature temples or small pyramids. And in 8th grade, I remember everybody turned their heads towards me for 15 seconds like this, all because I let out a sneeze. When Mrs. Holes was talking about how they took the skin of Jews and turned them into wallets and purses and leather boots, put them in this museum. And there was this little kid, Brody, that was looking at me for 30 seconds. I remember looking back at him like this. He was like, man, fuck you. But in high school, Mr. Perkins, the math teacher, had these popsicle sticks and didn't have my name on it. Took my name off it because he knew that something was up. He knew that maybe I had PTSD, maybe I was retarded or something, but he didn't have, and I told my friends, like, watch, he's not going to call my name, and he never did. Anyhow, I've got this list of people that I don't believe in. Christopher Columbus, Squanto, Johnny Appleseed, he's the guy from the math equations, Professor Jew, Berger, Common Core, and Osama bin Laden. They say that he had weapons of mass destruction. there was this wrestling coach or something that tried to solicit to me to be in some wrestling team in 8th grade. After all this happened, I was like, too late, buddy, too late. You know, in 6th grade, that kid was planning on killing me. Brought a knife to school not even a month after he punched me in the face. Mrs. Holes, our teacher, looked at me like, you got exactly what you deserve. And they know what happened. They know what happened. You know, ISS, I was locked in this big bricked up building. It really, really stands out like a sore thumb. And they told me, we'll let you out for 15 minutes to go see your friends. You know, even though you don't deserve to see your friends. 1101 Rue Angeline, Bonne Terre, Missouri. It's a haunted house. It was a haunted house, dude. I couldn't get any sleep. There were nightmares keeping me up every night unless I slept on the couch or in my mom's room, mom and dad, and even she would go into my room and get nightmares every night. She had the worst nightmare she ever had in my room, and she saw a flying snake 2 feet off the ground. I heard noises in the attic. Right before we left, I fucking fell back off this chair because I heard a loud thud. You know, she went to get me a glass of milk one time when I was a kid, turned around, and the glass was sitting right on the wall, guarding the space between the sinks, right? And, you know, she had this dream where there were a bunch of witches in the middle of the wood spinning this wheel, and on the wheel were dead horses, right? She woke up one time and there was a banshee screaming and started running around the room, throwing shit around, and then left, you know. And when I got here, me and my best friend, you know, we're coming into my room through this door right here, and we look out the door, and there's Durango and Thumper, this black and white dog and black cat. They're out there playing, okay? We had a bed frame. I had a bed frame right over here, and it had a bed on it, right? Mattress and everything, bed frame. Not this mattress that's on the ground, but this door. I opened it. We were coming in. He saw that they were out there playing in the living room. I'm closing the door. I'm looking through at the same time, and I see them playing out there. That's the last thing I see through the creak in the door. Come in here. We situate ourselves. Have the TV on. 5 minutes pass, maybe not even 5 minutes. And underneath the bed frame, there comes crawling out Durango and Thumper, crawling out, having fun, looking like they're playing. It's like, where the did they come from? They fucking teleported, you know? And, you know, I had this dream where all my teeth fell out after this whole fight happened. A day after, I studied the occult in 6th grade, was deep into the occult, stuff that you can't find on the internet these days. You know, I cut myself daily for a week and threw away this book because of the incantations. They sent a principal and some woman to come interrogate me and ask me how my mom is treating me, as if they weren't the problem. You know, when I had this massive sweltering bruise, nobody asked any questions. Nobody, they saw how polite I was and didn't even question it for a second. It feels like a big fight is coming, and you don't know how big of a threat your opponent is. You don't know how strong they are, what they're capable of, what they have in store, or when they're going to attack. I didn't lay a finger on this kid, okay? And these guys, Max Egan, Flat Earth British, right? Martin Lee Kerr, yeah, Dollar Vigilante. It's like, if these guys aren't shills, and if they seriously know the truth, then why aren't they going out and doing something about it, right? You know, and all these chemtrails, right? They leave these little shreds, these microscopic shreds. They're in the atmosphere right now, right? Floating around, amplifying the sun's light, scorching the surface of the earth. And they last 5 hours. If the wind is still enough, they'll last 5 or 6 hours, dude. And what are we going to do about this, right? I mean, what do we do about the chemtrails, right? What do we do about the 5G towers? What do we do if the military comes in and starts storming it, right? Keeping us barricaded in like they did with Maui. What about the Swanson Mill group? I mean, in the Swanson, they're replacing the Swanson Mill group with the this group that's there, this company that's there to manufacture the tar for these power poles. But everywhere they go, they leave this giant trail of smog behind. They leave pollution. It pollutes the water. And they get horrible reviews. People, they don't know what to do. And what do you do about that, right? So, Maui, right? Maui was directed energy weapons. The kids were made to stay in the schools, and the police barricaded them in. There are trees. Look at that. There's fucking trees in the background that haven't been burnt at all, and that is not right. There was a child in the middle of the street covering his dog, trying to protect him from whatever was going on. You know, Hurricane Otis was totally weather seeding. You know, Hurricane Otis, the eye of the storm was literally directly over Max Egan's house. I mean, what's up with that? The Rocky Mountain facility, Pfizer HQ, got fucking bombed, and it got bombed, and they blame it on a tornado. They say that God did it. It was a fucking tornado, dude. No, it wasn't a fucking tornado. It was a fucking bomb. Somebody went in there with a bomb and blew that place up. I mean, look at this. You got this holy house. It's Basilica della Santa Casa, Loreto, Italy. You got this holy house on the inside that say that they say that it arrived. It arrived suddenly, as if it was flown in there. I mean, they come up with these words like founded. Why are all these buildings founded? This arrived. I mean, there's got to be some truth in the pudding, right? Anyhow, those school monitors back at my old school, they could teleport. They were like the damn Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics. They always wore black, and I guess that's where Jack Teagarden learned to teleport. The nasty wizard. He's got that Count All Rocks there is. You know, they blame the Pilgrims, the Cabbage Patch Kids, the Ragamuffins, you know, these brown-haired people. It's all the same thing. They blame the Pilgrims for raping the Indians, the Native Americans, and they blame your ancestors for that. You know, we got this Fair Standardized Labor Act, which, you know, if you're a kid, you can mine for gold for the Anunnaki. You can mine gold for the Anunnaki, or you can make iPhones, you know, manufacturing. Mining or manufacturing, you can do full-time, but any other job, it restricts you from having a full-time job because of skill. And then, you know, it restricts the minimum wage too for kids. It's completely screwing them, and they send us to school at a very early age, teaching us about, you know, spells, spelling, spellcasting, Monday, mundane. You know, you feel weak on the weekends, you feel weakened on the weekends. Free, dumb, right? And hell. Oh, hello. I was lucid dreaming when I was a kid. 2017. This was like the #1 most bought kids toy, and all these shills keep saying that you can't hold these kids accountable. You know, I had invisible demons fucking pulling me, tugging me in school. I was coming in, going out this door from the entrance, through this garden area, turn right, and something came and pulled my backpack, right? I look behind me, there's nothing standing behind me. Just an invisible thing. It happened twice. I was coming out, going into the same garden, it's outdoor garden area, greenhouse area, and one of them actually pulls me, or one of them actually shoved me from behind. I look behind me, and again, there's nothing there. No kids behind me. I was getting paranoid and freaked out, dude. And, you know, they got these kids, they teach them hailing Columbia and pledging allegiance. It's just such a good thing. It's a satanic ritual, dude. It's just destroying the people who aren't a part of your allegiance. You know what I'm saying? Forcing and unlawfully grandfather effing them into compliance under law, right? There were Native American Indian warriors, the Scythians were warriors, and maybe that's one of the reasons that they got along. You know, they come here to the Americas with golden weapons, golden shields, golden armor, and they're like, hey, check out this stuff. You know, they probably got along really well. And the president has a laser. He has the authority to shoot it off at any time, basically any part of the world, at any time he wants. Everyone who bought 101 sold the house. Nobody ever kept it. Nobody ever stayed. In 5th grade, I was graded on the way that I talked and socially communicated with my friends. They graded and monitored how often I would socialize with my friends. They graded me on the way that I talked. The potatoes got the COVID-19 PCR test 50-50. Will test anything positive for COVID-19. Rocks, grass, underwear in the U.S. is always made 2 sizes too small to kill you. Maltodextrin, soybean. Soy does the same. Cornstarch, corn products. You can hide anything in. It goes undetected under the microscope. The COVID particle is so small, it's not even microscopic. All the images you see are CGI. Native American Scythians have this dark undertone and this blood red overtone to their hair. There were star forts in New Orleans. One day I looked in the mirror, I saw the blood red in my hair. There were Nazis that sheltered with Jews, and there were Nazis that loved the Jews in World War II. Reportedly, there were 3 kids that got cancer when they put up a 5G tower next to a school. There's not as many bees, bugs, beetles, butterflies as there used to be. Never cussed, and the first thing I thought when I got hit was, oh fuck. They falsely imprisoned me. They didn't care about preserving my race. I was being taught by people who were dumber than me. They're telling the Japanese to race mix and telling the US Americans to race mix in order to prevent inbreeding. You know, Scythians have this blood red hair. They got these stress lines. I developed mine when I was 6. The skunks are very friendly. There are Nephilim buried with Indians. Most well-known Indian tribes have this lizard gene. My race has it. I'm part Indian on my dad's side. My people have the lizard gene, but the demon seed tends to skip a generation. Scythians escaped to the Americas to avoid assimilation, made it with the Indians, got assimilated here in the US by the race of the Red Dragon, and that's how I got my N-word pass. They call Black Friday because N-word Friday would have been too obvious. You know, Klaus Schwab says that it's not about the big fish eating the small fish, but it's about the quick fish eating the slow fish. You know, they call it killdozer even though it never killed anybody, labeled by the media. Police are strapped and prepared for World War III, and all they need is a pen and a paper. There's always a war going on in the Middle East. Donald Trump bombed a platoon of like 20 to 60 or 70 Houthis. Never heard of them. Now they're saying there's some big enemy. They posted on his website, he posted this caption before he showed the video: the weak will not survive. They got this D-Wave chip that's the size of a thumbnail made of new unknown materials used to take things and data from a parallel dimension, open a wormhole, and then use AI and the particle hadron collider to close the wormhole. A long time ago there was a swarm of sugar ants all over my 3DS. They were swarming it, and we ran to go get my uncle, ask him for the ant spray. He's like, you're really going to make me get up? He gets up, gets it, comes back. We're out of the room for a minute, and the ants are all gone. Okay, where'd the ants go? They're my uncle, my mom, they're out there working on this pipe. They're looking at this with this plumber. This plumber, he's like, gotta fix this pipe. The house is clogged, something's going on. And this plumber, out back, fixes this pipe out here, okay, behind the house. And just a few months later, same guy comes back to work on it. We got another problem. They're all out there, and this guy, we dig up the same spot, and the pipes are gone. The dude who's working on it's like, I don't remember working on any pipes. I mean, what's up with that? And you know, what is with this slow rollover? The 3 most important things that we need are food, water, and ammo. But right now we need to fix this particle hadron collider situation, this Mandela effect situation. I mean, these swabs for COVID are there to steal your DNA. Why do you think the sun is always white with all these chemtrails? My proposal is that we shut down the schools. Okay, we turn them into homeless shelters. We replace the teachers with gardeners. We turn the buses into public transport centers, and we move the books to the public library. And if you want to go to school for education, you should at least have your parents teach you to be able to forge your own signature. I mean, this is ridiculous. Anyhow, my mom's brother-in-law is basically the creator of big tech. He would never let us talk to him or his kids. There's these AI-generated names like F.L. Ames and H.P. Burns or whatever that are finding all these old buildings. They found them. They didn't create them. You don't just find your house. They saw me as this bright, young-minded individual, but when I got beat, they looked at me in a whole new light as a whole new person. They saw the pain in my eyes. They saw the suffering, and they didn't care. They knew, and they just kept their mouths shut to keep their jobs, And they say that the Germans are the ones that are doing the hate crimes, and the Muslims and Pakistanis are the ones invading Germany. 80 to 100% of the jobs out there are meaningless. They're to help the system work for the grid, and 80% of 100% of people are just useless smiths. Common Core is flawed, and we used to be Stick Island all the time. And the freaking Boy Scout camps here in the U.S. used to look like Nazi training camps. The kids used to shave their heads bald. I mean, why do you think that they have the Red Baron on the pizza box, right? There's always a problem, always a bad guy. You can't have a story without having something wrong happen in it, right? Why is that? We got these kids pledging their allegiance to the flag, putting their right hand over their left titty, when in reality they teach the police to aim for center mass, torso, essentially a kill shot. They hail Columbia, Columbia, column. It's like a gray dove. E is diving, and A is a female, right? Like the sister of Christ, We got white girls who are only 6 years old presenting themselves on the web. We got people on YouTube making bank off stories of kids dying. My high school ex was 17 years old. We only dated for like a week, and some kid on the bus jerked him off, and I was, providing fellatio when I was only 12 years old. The system is set up so that the smart and sharp fail and the retards excel. I've seen people on YouTube say that the bullet rises. No, the bullet doesn't rise. When it's ejected, it's constantly falling and dropping because of gravity. That's why the sights are aligned to where the line of sight intercepts the bullet path. Police have their sights set to 25 yards. We're not living in this do unto others as you would have them do unto you generation. People on the internet trade links of kids fighting as if it's some form of porn. We're growing up in an age where kids are dry humping each other and people don't even know how to wipe properly after they take a shit. They shattered the very fabric of my reality by making me question my own gender. I have realized who I am. You people are all a psychopath. The normie is a psychopath. You're all in a cult. You're crazy. Your idea should be take bricks, sock with rocks, baton, knife, kick them in the balls. It might save your life. Take their weapons in order to make you guys stronger. This SWAT guy that arrested this 9-year-old had freaking padded pants on, dude. But why do they get away with this? Because of Yeet, man. I'm on the side where we win. Basically self-personification is bad. And if they hadn't characterized me, then I wouldn't have questioned myself. They wouldn't have made me think that I'm the problem. I wouldn't be here. There was black tar in the Subway sandwiches at the school, meatball subs, and the principal came in and said, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing going on here. There was strawberry jam at my old school that was so processed it would fall through your fingers. Here's a list of all of the laws that these schools break. Social injustice, man. Kids aren't toys. You're viewed by your characteristics, race, hair color, skin color, speech patterns, verbal, picture, every little piece of data that they can collect out of you or your parents. They like to hire a certain kind of people for their jobs, people that fit their description, memorize lines, repetition for the masses, designated talking points, teachers, patterns. The point will trickle down to a speech, the speech will simmer down to a video, and the video will boil down to a meme, and I will be reduced to ash. And they will frame me as some sort of pedophile or a racist. Google Chrome logo is 666, Pepsi is red, white, and blue is dead, Coca-Cola is 66, and the Monster logo is 666. in Hebrew. Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and they removed that from the Bible because your body needs to fast in order to grow. Time speeds up in heaven. 1 day is 1,000 days in heaven. Jesus came back a second time. He was having Thanksgiving, the real Thanksgiving, with the inheritors of the earth, the meek, the rest of them. And these buildings were healing sanctuaries and resting grounds built for the travelers with help from the angels. Nicholas Romanov's psalm was the head of the Russian royal family, and he was killed by the Bolsh, who were Jews of Russian origin, who ultimately cut off his willy. Rasputin was an Orthodox priest who showed up in Moscow because he had healing powers. He was a mystic who sued to heal this hemophiliac Michael, who was the son of Kaiser Nicholas. A wealthy family, 600-year-old dynasty that were all slain, everything they had taken, their children found dead in swamps, mangled, horrendously mutilated, their funeral withheld for 80 years. They were murdered in 1917. The point is, there was this clergyman who worked his way into the highest court in Russia. He comes along, there's only a hop, he's only there for a hop, a skip, a jump, and the 600-year dynasty is no more. Hemi is half a sphere. Need I say more? Donald Trump is Nikola Tesla's great nephew. Nikola Tesla is Donald Trump's uncle. Donald Trump's dad, John Trump, stole all of Tesla's lab spreadsheets and stole documents and his written works on his inventions. Donald Trump says we'll deport all jihadist synthesizers, and we will deport them very quickly. And Hamas supporters will be gone. If you hate America, if you want to eliminate Israel, we don't want you in our country. We really don't want you in our country. I will ban refugee settlements from terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip. We will arrest pro-Hamas thugs who vandalize federal property and make life really difficult in this country for a lot of people. He went to Jesuit school, Fordham University by summer. Last year or something, Trump fully addressed his new faith in televised evening news conference. His slogan was to make America great again, but when he got selected, he took the America part out and said, we're going to make Israel great again. We have to save Israel. Looky here for a reason. We have to save Israel. This is no longer games. Secretary Antony Blinken is a Jew linked to Jeffrey Epstein. What a piece of shit. Every dollar we have at our disposal will be pushed to Ukraine. Born to Jew parents, the title is Hamas is ISIS, but in reality check, Israel is ISIS. So they don't want you to point the finger that Israel is ISIS, but for anyone on the other side, you're not pointing the finger at Israel, again, because CNN is stupid and anyone that watches it is a Democrat. Pam Bondi, Attorney General, wants to take our guns on gun control. Debate on Fox, Washington, D.C., February. What it does is provide school security. It's going to ensure that every school in Florida is safer, more infrastructure, everything that we need to keep our schools safe. It's going to provide law enforcement officers for every 1,000 students, a school resource officer, and that was something that was lacking in our state, as well as huge mental health, which is huge. It has gun violence restraining order there, which raises the age of purchasing an assault rifle to 21. It's banning bump stocks. Pam Bondi is an anti-Second Amendment. She supports red flag laws. She allows for the temporary removal of firearms from individuals as if they deem them as a threat. So how are the kids going to defend themselves? It's confiscation of a kid's private property. Saudi Arabia, they call that stealing. They cut off their hands in public display, creating the hassle of stealing guns from law-abiding men. Statistically, they'll never find the real felons. Surgeon General, we now have clear-cut, compelling data, a trial of 1,000 participants. This was just posted on the CDC website that showed those who had the third dose of booster had significantly more improvement, protection, more antibodies than those who did not have the third dose. That's Janet Neshawat. We got clear-cut evidence that people are dying suddenly, finding graphene, nanobodies, chrome, and aluminum, and a fucking hydra, a living being that never dies. You cut off its ass, it grows a head out of its ass. You cut off its head, it grows an ass out of its head, and it's got tentacles. She's a double masker against people that speak out against it on the internet. Sebastian Gorka is a foreigner, warmonger, and a Zionist pushing to keep Israel at war. Trump's senior director for counterterrorism. Everybody Trump selected is either a Jew and Israeli, a dual American-Israeli citizen, but the one thing they all have in common is that they each have an Israeli passport. Trump's IMDb page has like 1,000 movies and shows that he's in. It's not like he's an actor or anything. World Wrestling Federation Hall of Fame. Trump is going to continue the Biden policy to continue to use Ukraine to fight Russia.
you've lost your way through this weather. Didn't you make amends? I see the years are not your friend. It's a time to mend. Plan a little bit better. It's over now. You let me wash away without a sound and let me drown. Hold one breath. You let me out to wash away with all the rest and let me drown. Say you love the violence and don't really miss innocence. From behind the fence, the view's much better. Can you feel it all around? And when you've worn it out, and now you've come unwound, bring it back together. It's over now. You let me wash away without a sound and let me drown. Hold one breath. You let me out to wash away with all the rest and let me drown. Didn't you find the place where you thought it'd be? Have you found a way to get it back together? It's over now. You let me wash away